Hey everybody, welcome back to another show. We've got a really big show here for you. If I seem a little exuberant today, that's because I am. It's not because of this fancy new shirt. That is in fact a new shirt. It's because I just took delivery of a brand new Fender guitar.
Jesus.
Fortunately, I don't have an amp yet, so you won't be able to hear anything, but we're just going to leave this little puppy over here. Thank you very much.
But you know what? I got an idea. Light it on fire like Jimi Hendrix used to do.
But I just got it.
Yeah, but so what? That shows to you that you're not attached to anything. But give me that guitar over here. I'm going to start it up.
I've been saving up for that for weeks now.
Never mind. Bad idea. Bad idea.
Oh my God!
Remember they used to
was a Stratocaster with a whammy bar. Boom, 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 boom. Do you remember Joe's Garage?
No.
And we jammed in Joe's Garage. Whoa, going to lose my voice if I keep barking like that. Anyways, we have an awesome show for you all today. And part of the reason that I'm talking this fast is because I have to go to the bathroom so badly. My back teeth are floating. But I think I can hang it, hold it together until we get news nurse Ricky Gerwitz.
What are you going to hang? You're going to hang it. Jesus.
Ed, that's a little bit smutty. Now, come on.
You said it.
Can I point out some of the big winners in the market just right away?
Khiron,
the South American monster cannabis company. I'm going to go out so far as to say this is in fact truly the biggest cannabis company in South America. Undervalued, underappreciated. They are about to become our big project because we are long the stock. And
are they a client?
And we're going to make some film for them.
Wow.
We're going to Colombia, everybody. So next couple of weeks, we're going to be coming to you live from Bogota, Colombia, and from Doima, Colombia, which Google that, Google Maps that. Doima is actually the site of the grow. So you want to know maybe what's happening on the show today. Okay, fine. Don't want to hear any more about Colombia. That's fine.
That's
Niel
exciting,
Marotta is going to be here.
It's up 37% in 2 days.
Oh yeah. Headline news with news nurse Ricky Gerwitz. Sideshow Bob over here says we got a Vinay Tolia will be here from Flowr Corporation at 3:10. Niel Marotta from Indiva, the CEO of Indiva, will be here at 3:30. As usual, we want you to post your questions, and we will try to ask them if they make sense, if they're intelligible, if they're coherent and articulate and brilliant and scintillating and charming and all those things. Menashe Kestenbaum is going to be here, the CEO from Enthusiast Gaming, returning for the second time. And then at 3:55, we're going to take a little tour of the Cantech conference, walking around with a camera, walking, talking. Sean Cookson delivers a visual record
Walking and
what
talking.
happened. Walking, talking, coming and going. And then at 4:10, my friend and the CEO of a company that I am deeply entwined with, in that I own shares. I am a consultant to the company. I have an arrangement with the company that will enrich me beyond my wildest dreams as soon as it hits $1 billion. So, clearly I'm not to be trusted, but Greg Sullivan, the CEO, he is to be trusted, and he joins me to discuss what is up with that. So, without further ado, here is news nurse Ricky Gerwitz.
Thanks, James, and here are the headlines moving markets today. Green Growth Brands has executed an arm's-length definitive agreement to acquire control of ZLJT LLC and Arizona Natural Pain Solutions Inc., collectively referred to as Desert Rose. Desert Rose holds a license for a vertically integrated operation in Arizona, including retail, cultivation, and infusion. As consideration for the membership interests, GGB will pay an aggregate purchase price of $12 million US in cash. Tilray Inc. has announced the expansion of its global senior leadership team with 4 hires. Greg Christopher as EVP of Operations, formerly with Nestle, Rita Seguin as EVP of Human Resources, formerly with Diageo, Dara Redler as General Counsel, formerly with the Coca-Cola Company, and Charlie Kane as VP of Retail, formerly with Starbucks Corporation. Charlotte's Web Holdings Inc. announced that Stephen Lermer has joined the company in the newly formed role of Chief Operating Officer. Mr. Lermer comes to Charlotte's Web from the pharmaceutical industry, where he held senior leadership and executive positions at DuPont, Johnson & Johnson, and many others. Liht Cannabis Corp announced that Pure Cloud 9, a Liht Cannabis Corp brand, would launch its new and reformulated whole-body hemp health line on February 13th. The product line is developed using organic, unrefined, cold-pressed hemp seed oil infused with botanical and exotic essential oils. The Flowr Corporation will begin selling a selection of cannabis cultivars in both clone and seed form in the second quarter of this year. The company expects to produce more than 3.2 million high-quality clones on an annualized basis once its initial cultivation facility is completed. The company expects the facility to be ready by the end of the third quarter in 2019. OrganiGram Holdings Inc. announced that it has reached the production of 1 million cannabis pre-rolls since the legalization of adult-use recreational cannabis in October 2018. And HITI Inc. announced that it recently listed its common shares for trading on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol 2LY. The company's common shares continue to be listed on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol HITI. Indiva Ltd. has hired Lucid Lab Group to design the company's planned extraction facility. The facility, planned for Q2 2019, will be the hub of oil manufacturing and product innovation for all of Indiva's related cannabis products. That includes tinctures and gel capsules, as well as licensed products such as Bang Chocolate, Ruby Sugar, and Ruby Chewable Gems. And the CEO of Indiva will be joining James later on the show. And that's your news for today.
We were making angels in the snow. Thank you very much for that, Ricky. And what kind of day is this going to be, Ed? You know, in a short while, we're going to have Vinay is going to be here from Flowr Corporation. But first, oh, look at that! How about now? How about so that was my if you were able to read my lips, that's what I was saying was, because I turned off my mic like a complete amateur. So we're going to have Vinay from Flowr Corporation here to update us on what's going on. But first, very first thing next, are you wondering where else you can watch Midas Letter besides just on YouTube?
Yeah. I'm wondering because
Enjoy the show, everybody. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Hey, I'm back now with Vinay Tolia, CEO of the Flowr Corporation, trading on the TSFE under the symbol FLWR. Vinay, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Vinay, the last time we hear, our discussion focused around the idea that the Flowr Corporation was going to become more of an international affair, and you've made some moves in that direction. Give me an update on what's developed positively in the last 3 months.
Sure, we have. So I think, as I mentioned last time, our real edge is our ability to grow here in Canada under a federally regulated system, and that IP can be transferred to other federally regulated markets. So in December, we announced a little less than 20% acquisition of a company called Hologen. Mm-hmm. That's a medically only focused company that with assets in Australia and Portugal. Specifically, the asset in Portugal is an outdoor grow, the only outdoor grow in Europe, maybe in the Northern Hemisphere, and potentially the largest cannabis producing asset in the world. It has capability to produce over 600,000 kilos a year.
Wow, so that is so I guess Portugal then, the climate is suitable for growing year-round outdoors?
Yes.
Interesting. And is the focus on Portugal designed to give you, your springboard into the entire European medical market?
Mm-hmm. We think that while exporting to Europe now is a lucrative model, longer term, I think you need a foothold in all these markets, whether that be Australia, South America, Europe. So that is a standalone entity to drive product to all of the EU.
Mm-hmm. So is it safe to consider the EU as a single cannabis market, or do you still need to observe certain national differences within the EU bloc?
There is a lot of country-specific regulations and rules, but in general, we're looking at it as a zone, but it's hard to say. We're seeing the EU just recently announced a harmonization of laws between countries, and so that's something we're looking, as it applies to cannabis, that's something we're looking at closely. So it's hard to say. We'll see how the regulations shake up.
Mm-hmm. Interesting then. What is the pace of normalization of cannabis laws for medical use in Europe at this point right now?
So each country has kind of, well, depending on the country, they either have laws in place or they are talking about drafting laws. And I think the EU, the main EU body in Brussels, wants to harmonize this so that all these other countries that are thinking about a medicinal cannabis program have some kind of framework to go on. So that's where we are right now, where the main EU body is kind of deliberating as to what they want to roll out as a kind of a template for harmonization throughout the EU.
That's interesting. That's actually something that we're looking at and saying, if that happens, that makes the EU a much simpler place and a much more lucrative place to do business because you don't have fractured compliance issues. How is the rate of medical marijuana patient growth proceeding throughout Europe at this point?
So really the biggest market is still Germany, and that's been expanding nicely. The exciting thing is all these other countries, like Portugal, just announced their laws. So I want to, just to backtrack a little bit, the EU has its harmonization laws, but each country has to decide how they want to approach this. So Portugal just released their laws a couple of weeks ago. There's talk of France announcing something this year. The EU, although they might not be part of the EU, the UK, although they might not be part of the EU much longer, they announced and they allowed for medicinal cannabis in November last year. Spain is talking about some legislation. So Italy's talking about legislation. So you have a bunch of these countries just on the precipice, but Germany's still by far the biggest market there.
Interesting. And what other markets do you see being important relative to Germany? I mean, Germany's got, what, 75, 85 million people?
Yeah, but a little over 80, I think.
A little over 80. So the entire EU, if it was to roll out harmonized rules applying to medical cannabis, would there also be a rollout of harmonized rules applying to recreational cannabis?
I don't think anyone's really talked about the recreational angle yet. It's strictly medicinal, so it has to be approached from that aspect. So a lot of the lessons that we learned here in Canada, 5 years ago, can be applied to that when it was only a medicinal market, can be applied to Europe. But I think it'll be a while before we see rec in Europe.
So then in Germany, what are the numbers looking like in terms of patients relative to the population of 80 million?
Oh, it's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. It's absolutely, but there's also a massive shortage of product.
Okay.
I mean, the prices there are crazy. That's why you see so many of the Canadian license holders shipping product to Germany, because they can get much higher prices than you can even here in Canada.
I see. So why is the growth in patient numbers so slow in Germany relative to what it was in Canada? Canada went from 5,000 patients at the outset of the new MMPR, ACMPR rules to what is it total now, 250,000 patients over the course of 4 years. Europe's kind of progressing at a much slower rate in terms of that patient onboarding.
I think it's still a question of, very similar to what we went through here in Canada in the beginning, doctors are still a little uncertain on how to prescribe. I think what'll happen there is very much like what happened in Canada, where you hit kind of hit a tipping point, and then the patients really take off. And I think Australia is very close to that. The patient count right now in Australia, very low. I think it's just over 1,000 patients. But we're seeing a lot of the signs there that remind us of Canada 5 years ago. And I think Australia could be the next really big market outside of the EU.
Wow. Population of Australia off the top of your head?
25.
25 million. Oh, okay. So it's like a Canada-ette.
Yes, kind of.
Great. Okay, so what is the highest value products that you see selling in terms of margin into medical markets?
Oil.
So oil, not for vaping, but oil mixed with MCT for oral ingestion.
Yeah, the only places where vaping is legal right now is the rec markets in the States, and then clearly here later this year. So we're very excited about that space, but in the medical markets, it's just the MCT based oil.
So what percentage of patients use orally ingestible cannabinoid products as opposed to smoking?
So it depends on the regulations. In some of these countries, like Portugal, for example, I think they're only starting with oil. They're not even going to have bud. In Germany, they do have dried flower, and the percentage of oil has been increasing, much more than the overall patient count. So, it really depends on the jurisdiction. In some places, they only allow for oil, so it's hard to compare against anything else.
Does the fact that LPs are shipping product to Germany because they get better pricing there, do you think that's occurring at all at the expense of Canadian patients or Canadian rec users?
Unfortunately, I think it is. I think it is. I think the patients in Canada in general have been the real kind of victims of the supply shortage, because you've seen LPs either ship product abroad or ship product to the rec market and neglect a lot of the patients.
So I guess that's the opportunity for Flowr, is to be an in Europe source of cannabis on a large scale.
Sure.
Wow. Okay, so what is the revenue ramp look like for Flowr now in 2019?
So that's as far as here in Canada. So we are 50% done with our first facility. We just populated some more rooms this week. It will be 100% finished in the third quarter, and so we're predicting our capacity go from 0 last year to over 10,000 kilos on an annualized basis this year when our facility is up and running.
Wow. Okay. And so in Canada, are you focused just on the medical, or will you be available in the provincial cannabis stores?
We're available in 5 of the provinces right now.
Okay.
And have most of our products in the rec market. And we're going to ramp up supply significantly. I mean, I mentioned 10,000 kilos. We are, by the end of 2021, you'll see us by the end of 2020, we'll have a capacity of 60,000 kilos and that's premium quality indoor grown cannabis.
Well, fantastic. All right, Vinay, we're going to leave it there for now. Thanks very much for the update.
Thank you for having me.
If you like the show, you'll love our website. Visit us at www.midasletter.com for interviews with key CEOs, cannabis news, and to subscribe to our newsletter. Baby's on fire. Why don't you put him in the water?
And what's not on fire?
Water. This is why we are essentially constrained to a lifetime
Of?
How much is left of it.
A lifetime of penury?
I don't buy green bananas. But we're just going to be YouTubers. And,
Yeah.
we've just got our audience who loves us and who we love.
Yeah.
Bunch of cannabis, dope, smoking, drinking, party animals. Yeah. And we're just going to have a good time till the day we drop dead. We've decided. There.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on the way, I will have you know, everybody, that our objective on this show in 2019 is to make money.
Yeah.
We'll make money. You'll make money out at home if you have money to invest. But again, I just want to caveat all this with we are not analysts. We are not accredited in any way, shape, or form. I got kicked out of school in grade 10, for God's sakes. I got my grade 12 equivalency diploma in Orlando, Florida in a 3-hour exam. If I'd have known that was going to be that easy, I would have quit in grade 2. But anyway, we're uneducated. We're essentially self-interested in everything we talk about. We buy the stock. We have them as clients. We are not qualified to make recommendations. So my point being is that we are never telling you what to do. We are always telling you what we're doing and why. You're going to watch us make money. You're going to watch us lose money. With a little bit of luck, we're going to make a lot more money than we lose.
You know, it always kind of bothered me.
What's that?
That the word analyst starts with A-N-A-L. Just saying.
Ed.
Just saying.
It begs askance of your sexual sort of peregrinations.
Predilection?
Predilections?
No, I'm just saying.
Peccadillos?
It's like the other one that's really disturbing is therapist, which is comprised of 2 words, the rapist.
Oh, boy, that's politically
I'm just saying.
Hashtag, whoa.
No, I'm not judging. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yep, sure. No, you have nothing to do with that extracurricular activity.
No.
Imagine you don't have any pets, I'm hoping. Do you have any pets, Ed?
Well, I have some pet peeves.
Pet peeves? Are they here?
Are they like pet?
What do you feed them?
Pet peeve.
Yeah.
What do you have a pet peeve? Let's talk about.
I'll tell you what my pet peeve is.
Right now.
You know when you get to the airport and you're waiting around the baggage carousel?
Yeah.
And there's all these people who have like a sort of, I'm going to call it a bovine intellectual capacity, crowd around the edge of the thing, even though the bags aren't coming for another 20 minutes.
That's a pet peeve.
That's a pet peeve. It's like if everybody stands back and we all watch the ramp where the bags come tumbling down, then we could all just walk up to the carousel when we saw our bags, and without having to wade through a crowd and elbow babies in the face and all of that, we could just grab our bags and go straight to the exit. There'd be no muss, no fuss. But no, everybody's got to crowd around like it's feeding time at the OK Corral.
You know, it's also very interesting. Like I take Via Rail all the time, right?
Via.
And everybody lines up.
Yeah.
All the seats are assigned, right?
Yep.
So you line up and you wait there, and you wait and you wait and you wait, and if you. Like I wait, I usually sit down and wait for the people to go through and get on and go to my assigned seat, which is waiting for me all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't have to stand in line.
No.
Just saying.
Yeah.
A little bit of a shortcut out there for you folks.
I like that.
Okay.
Ed, you got any charts you want to talk about today?
I want to put up Khiron for sure.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice. Top notch, my man. Top notch.
Excellent.
This stock is on fire. I've been watching it. That's what, over 2 days. Do you know our production VP of production, Fraser? He has been a long-term shareholder of Khiron, and he's looking pretty happy today.
Yeah, you suggesting that maybe a little extra lettuce in your pocket is make you happy?
Yeah, a little.
Do you think money makes you happy?
Well, I can tell you one thing: not having money makes you miserable.
But not having money makes you happy, but exactly. But that doesn't mean that money makes you happy, but not having it makes you unhappy.
Well, having a ton of money is a lot of pressure. Because you got to service the money. The money wants to be spent. The money needs to be managed.
Okay, Khiron charts up.
All right, what do we got? What do we got?
Where's my?
Look at that! What the hell's going on?
Okay, look at that. Now that is a serious breakout move.
That is a bona fide bull market
and
slingshot.
Look at the volume, and you know what? I've got to reach down here and get my pen, my magic pen.
Okay.
Because I want to show a couple things here. Just a minute.
And just while Ed's looking for that, everybody, we want you to know that Chris Naprawa, the president of Khiron, is going to be here in the studio on Tuesday.
We talked to him last week when you weren't here.
Yes, no, but he's on the road marketing. So he's been marketing. He's
doing a pretty good job,
I would say.
Like, duh.
Can you
Chris, keep up marketing. Hey,
really? Keep marketing. What do you need us for?
How much?
Just keep Chris on the road. No,
Jesus.
but obviously the message is being well received by investors everywhere.
Back to the chart. There was the resist. There was this. Those two tops were kind of
the former resistance.
Yeah, that was the resistance. We got through it here, and it could say, well, but you know, they say there's no such thing as a triple top. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
That whenever it gets going for that third time, that's usually a good time that it's going to go through. Huh. There's a double top, but they say there's no such thing as a triple top.
Well, that looks like a triple top.
No, because it broke through. That's my point. If it was a triple top, it would have came back down, and you would have had three tops.
So there's no such thing as a triple top, because once it goes through that level, it's transformative, and the stock's never going to look back.
Now, usually when you go into all-time high territory, there's about a good chance you're going to get at least a 30 to 50% move from the previous top. The previous top was $2.
Look at the volume increase too.
Whoa! What? You've been talking about that?
Yeah.
You're talking about that? Wait a minute.
What the hell?
I'm going to put a BV there.
BV for bovine?
Big vol.
Big what, Ed? You talking about me now? Big voice.
BV. I guess I could put a D on there and talk
big
about
voice.
underwear.
Hold up your hands. I want to see the size of your voice.
My voice? What are you talking about my voice for? What?
Hello,
Big
John
feet.
Murphy from New Jersey. Welcome to our show. James Watson, great to see you again. Michael Correa, good to see you again. Fully aware one. Always love to see your comments. Reefer Al Joint. You know, you're really going to have to... What? Miami Airport didn't mess me up. I got the shirt at Miami Airport.
Were they giving them away? Were they giving them away as a sort of a...
No. It's an airport buy.
I know. Air Canada said, we're sorry, but we got a load of these shirts on sale, and we're going to hand them out to the passengers because...
Yeah, so everybody on the plane ride home can be dressed like a clown.
I've seen at least 30. Did you hear about the two cannibals?
This sounds like suddenly a joke just occurred to
Well, you said something about a clown. Well, these two cannibals were dining on this clown, and one looked at the other one and said, "Does that taste a little funny to you?"
And that's the joke. That's the punchline. Oh!
All right, I already told that joke.
Oh my God.
Okay, nice shirt. That's a nice shirt.
Thank you. Actually, it's a Hugo Boss. Santana 420 says, behave.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
You're talking about Ed, obviously.
Yeah,
Tammy
yeah.
Kirby says, laugh my fucking ass off, bovine brains. Yeah, okay.
BV. Come up with a good...
BV, British Virgin Islands.
Big volume, let's say.
Big
veranda.
Or just had a totally filthy juvenile thought.
You know what?
That, oh my God, if we were
hashtag
14...
me too.
Yeah, hashtag off the air. That's what that would be. Even YouTube would say, okay, we got to draw the line.
I got an idea. You know what? I got an idea.
What?
How about Big V? Big V Pharmacy. Oh!
Big V Pharmacy.
Remember that pharmacy chain that got taken out?
No.
Used to be Big V.
Never
It
heard
started in Windsor.
What was it, like in the 20s?
No, the 20s are around a year after this year.
Oh, are they? Oh, no.
Oh, you're looking backwards.
The 1920s.
I'm looking forward.
I mean, I'm assuming because I've never had
I look forward.
Because it's before my time.
Big V Pharmacy was a very successful chain started by a gentleman who recently passed away that originated in Windsor, Ontario.
Okay.
Just saying.
Nice.
Okay.
Did you know the guy?
Big V, yeah, I did. He's a member.
Really?
He's
Did you make any money off the stock?
Remember this club?
Really? Still?
Oh, they made a lot of money.
What do you mean? They lost it all?
No, they sold the chain to another chain.
And built a golf club?
I think shoppers bought
So
them
that's
out.
your golf club
logo. Logo. You know why it's the fox? You know why? You won't like this. And I'm not proud of it, but I think they're stopping it. But they actually still have the fox hunt there.
Oh.
Which is sad. But they don't really catch any fox. They just let the hounds.
Well, I don't know.
They release the hounds.
Yeah, but I think the foxes, if they don't get killed and ripped to shreds by the hounds and they have a heart attack and keel over and die.
I know.
If you're going to hunt fox, I mean, this day and age, just grow them genetically on like an ear or something. Boy, the poor fox.
Well,
I'm against that. I'm against that.
I listen. A lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
Well, look at the hunts they used to have.
Somebody is suggesting that full cavity search is in order. And I don't know what triggered that. Mr. Lou 1990, a triple, he says. I've had a triple before. Triple bypass? Hope that's not what you're talking about. You mean you made 3 times your money? Now that's interesting. How many times do you make 3 times your money? 3 times a lady, I love you.
You know, gold has been on a bit of a tear as well. Ever since the Fed is saying, maybe we're comfortable here with the rates the way they are.
Really?
Yeah, low steady rates allows people to say, well, why buy the U.S. dollar? They're not paying any more interest, so the money jumps into gold. And ever since that the Fed said that there's the probability of a rate increase went down to 2%.
Went up, went down, went up.
Went up, went down, went up. look at here. Can we get the chart here of the gold trust just to point out something? Just quickly here,
This is ground control to major. Oh, there we go.
So right in here, the Fed said something about, or the probability of a rate increase went down to 2%. I'll say it again. And look at gold.
Say it again.
The probability of a rate increase
went down
to 2%.
Which drove the price of gold
from here to here.
That comment, just that comment.
That's what they said. Yeah.
So why doesn't the Fed just say, I'm pretty sure all stocks are going to increase by 300% in the next 6 months?
Well,
then everybody'd be rich. There'd be no poor people, and we'd be like,
you know what else is up big today? Big.
What?
Take a wild guess.
Namaste.
Afria. Well, Namaste may be too, but
Namaste is up too.
Afria filled their gap and is moving along. Do you know that stock has tripled in the last?
Afria.
I'd say ever since that fiasco that came out by.
Whoa! Fiasco.
Well, the fiasco about the.
Hey, what? Jeez, easy here. You mean that harebrained short report from Heidelberg?
Well, I call it a fiasco
Did you
now
ever drink
because
Heidelberg from Heidelberg Research. Yeah, no, that thing's.
That's the Hindenburg. It's the Hindenburg.
No. Since they've hit 3 donuts, they're now Heidelberg Research because I'm pretty sure they drink beer before they publish their research. Did you see that piece that they're being sued by that Yangtze River company?
Oh yeah.
So they're getting their lawsuits. Are those guys are going to be out of business?
And instead of calling it the Hindenburg, they should call it the Space Shuttle. Because you should just buy the stocks that they say are going to get torched. Kronos?
Whoa, that's mean.
Well,
Ed, you know, it's a big question in the universe today, and I'm pretty sure you ask it of yourself almost daily. Who spends the most on cannabis?
Time to test your IQ. When it comes to cannabis, Americans are widely divided across the country on those who do and those who, for the most part, just don't buy cannabis. While you may think a New York state of mind means New Yorkers are chilling with some weed, they're spending nothing compared to California. Between legal medicinal cannabis and illegal weed, Californians spend more than double of what New Yorkers do, and 40 times more than folks in, say, Idaho. So here's the question for you today. How much did Californians spend on cannabis that's legal plus illegal in 2018? Was it A, 500 million, B, 1.1 billion, C, 5.6 billion, or D, 15.5 billion? We're going to give you the answer later in the show.
Niel Marotta joins me now from Indiva. Neil, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Neil, you brought some treats.
I did.
And
yeah.
they're loaded with hallucinogenic chemicals, I understand?
Not yet, no. If they ever will be hallucinogenic, and maybe that's a whole other ball of wax.
Right,
but
so they got some weed in them.
Yeah, they do not yet, but we have here
because that would be illegal.
Where to show these, but these are a couple of Bang chocolate samples. We're going to have a couple of pop-up shops handing these out February 15th, 16th in Toronto.
Right.
We were handing these out at the Liht conference. They are unmedicated. We're not allowed to sell.
Unmedicated.
At this point, they are unmedicated, so no THC, no CBD so far.
Thank you. No, just kidding. I love dark chocolate.
Yeah, no, I know. I tried,
so this
James,
is the actual chocolate you're going to have?
It is. They're child-proof, so you might be able to get it open with your teeth. But yeah, these are the. Maybe we have some scissors kicking around here.
Oh,
but,
okay.
They are. Yeah,
I'm going to pull out my incisors.
I think you've got it. If you've got a little cut there, it should be able to rip open. But
child-proof? Well, it certainly checks the child-proof box. I'm going to try. Try a reverse pressure move. No,
so basically, maybe we need some scissors. Medic, with the
medic. Can we get a scalpel over here?
So there you go.
There we go.
All right, good.
Look at that.
After all that, I sincerely hope you like it.
Exactly. Nobody under 520 pounds will be able to get this open.
No kids will be getting that open. That's important.
That's true. So how are we going to get this stuff to the kids? No, just kidding.
That's right.
Inappropriate, I realize that. Okay, so is this the actual chocolate that you're going to use?
Yeah, that's the formulation for the dark chocolate, one of their 14 flavors. This is the formulation for the milk chocolate. And so, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, well, thank you. I wish I could say it had anything to do with the recipe other than just licensing it, but we're really proud that we have licensed the Bang products, really the most delicious, most award-winning cannabis chocolate on the planet. And so we'll be bringing that to Canadians in the fall as soon as we see the final regs and know when we can introduce those products. So go ahead. It sounds like you're still chewing.
I was going to say, I don't mind talking with my mouth full.
No,
Everybody
that's fine.
in my house does it. We're basically a nation of swine, but what can I sell? So the claim that this is the best chocolate in all of Canadian cannabis is one that I've heard a few times.
I'm sure you have. Yeah.
So how do you actually determine who's got the better chocolate bar?
Well, Bang really has won all kinds of awards, Cannabis Cup awards, etc., in the U.S. over the last several years, and so certainly, because we haven't made legally any cannabis chocolate in Canada, I guess that's legitimacy behind the claim that this is award-winning chocolate in other jurisdictions where edibles have been legal for some time, like California. And so now that it looks like by October, maybe there'll be some delay, which we don't think hurts Indiva too much. Just gives us a chance to build more inventory. But we're excited to bring these products.
So wait a sec. Did you say there's a delay being floated?
Well, there was something on Bloomberg yesterday about whether October 17th would be the exact date.
What do they know?
It was a comment from Bill Blair, so we take that very seriously. Yeah.
Bill Blair, wasn't he a former cop?
I don't know. You tell me. I think so. Yes, that's my understanding. I'm no expert.
Oh boy, I'm going to have fun with him when I get him on the show, if I ever do. Anyways, so look at that. I'm sitting somewhat out of frame. So what are you anticipating in the way of sales initially upon the legalization of edibles, do you expect that your sales are going to be, first of all, mostly medical versus recreational? Is it only recreational? And what kind of volume do you anticipate?
Specifically on the edibles side of things, we know there'll be some medical demand. I mean, this was been sold in Canada, the R.V. Smith case. Patients have the right to consume cannabis in whatever form that they like. So we'll sell into that channel as we're permitted. But definitely on the recreational side, we know from, let's say, the illicit market and a lot of dispensaries that used to be open and by and large are now closed. Edibles is a pretty, let's say, 20% of revenue, and looking at mature markets in that realm. So if we assume the cannabis market, starts somewhere around $5 billion in Canada and grows to 10, we would expect it to be about $1 billion segment overall, growing maybe to $2 billion. And so, yeah,
just in Canada.
Just in Canada, yeah. And so we think that'll be a combination of things, whether chocolates or candies or gum, and we have other products like licensed from Ruby, like cannabis sugar and salt. Ruby Gems, which are dehydrated organic fruit with cannabis sugar that we'd like to introduce. So there'll be a really big variety of products out there.
Solve
I think,
and get the munchies at the same time.
Well, there are some strains that evidently do suppress appetite, so maybe
Really?
that's a trick someone will master.
Well, that could be helpful in a weight loss program, I imagine. Are all of the LPs ready with edible strategies, or are you seeing that most of the landscape is going to be dominated, at least at the early stage, by specialty edibles companies like Indiva?
For sure, the larger companies are preparing, and there's been some press about that. I can't speak for all LPs, obviously, but it's been a huge part of our focus and intentional strategy to license really high-quality products, award-winning brands, disruptive brands like the Ruby Sugar, this flexible edible idea that you can put sugar in your coffee or your tea, as opposed to being, let's say, not forced, but if you wanted to consume an edible, purchasing a final product. So we think definitely there'll be a lot of LPs involved. It's been our specific strategy, and we're working very hard to be ready for next fall. But there'll be a lot of competitors, and this is why we specifically went after award-winning product to bring to Canada, knowing that we don't like science experiments or reinventing the wheel. And let's start with something that's already recognized as being very, very good.
Yeah, sure. How do you see revenues ramping for Indiva in 2019?
Yeah, so we are very close and in conversations with many of the provincial distributors. So hopefully we'll have something on that in the coming weeks and months. And so we kind of targeted around $20 million for full flower revenue. We'll probably hit that run rate this year, but we'll probably hit that total number in 2020. We're about to bring on 3 additional rooms, takes us to 1,000 kilos. We'll have 6 more flower rooms, takes us to 3,000 kilos. That should be done next quarter. And then really what we say often now is we're not building a farm, we're building a factory. And so we would expect, while we'll be at a 20 million revenue run rate, let's say on dry flower, we think we can do a multiple of that number, making edibles and derivatives, concentrates, and products like vape pens, tinctures, gel caps, chocolate, sugar.
Wow.
These are the products we think that it takes a much smaller footprint, the higher margin product, and then ultimately they're differentiated. And so it's a way for us to, let's say, hopefully stand out in the market relative just to growing and selling flower.
Right. So remind me, does Indiva planning not to grow cannabis?
Oh no, we grow. Yeah, we're growing right now. Yeah, we've got hundreds of kilos in the vault, and we are making oil right now through our partner MetaPharm.
Right.
And we're very close to supply. Correct. Yeah. And we're close to supply agreements with some of the provincial distributors. And so hopefully we'll have products on the shelves for Canadians April 1st. That's really our goal, to be in the first 25 stores in Ontario for April 1st.
Well, that's great. Okay. Well, we're going to keep watching the story. Thanks very much for the update.
My pleasure.
And now here's the answer to the question, who spends the most on cannabis?
Earlier in the show, we told you that Californians are dreaming of weed more than anyone else in the United States. In fact, the Golden State spends more than double of what any other U.S. state shells out for cannabis. That's according to 2018 statistics. So we asked you, how much is being pumped into the legal and illegal economy for weed? The answer was C. That's a whopping $5.6 billion US dollars. The next biggest spenders were New York, then Washington, Florida, with Wyoming, North and South Dakota being the tiniest cannabis consumers, with just under $500,000 being spent on pot in each of those states. Now you know where to not go for some 420 fun.
Yes, too much money being spent on cannabis. Everybody should stop smoking weed and get back to work. Very bad for, I don't know. There's a segment in a video that I saw earlier where a woman was standing up on a morning show and saying, I don't like this regularization of cannabis. I think it's going to make all of the kids lazy. And, you know, I don't understand that thinking. All the kids I know are lazy as hell. How could they get any lazier? If we had a live studio audience, there would have been a round of applause and a little guffaw for that. But we don't. We don't.
Wait a minute.
We've got Alex. We've got Ricky. That's it. You be the live studio audience. There, Alex gives us a round. Phew, my fragile little ego is now appeased. Great. Back to the show. Right. I wanted to say hello to some of our visitors because we love you. Make us complete. No, mixed sentences there, never mind metaphors. Troy Smith, hello, Troy Smith, wants to advise MetaPharm. MetaPharm is another great company. Yes, we had Ryan Driscoll on our sister show. Actually, I think it should be our brother show. Bro show, yo.
Bro show.
Yo, our bro show, Follow the Money. He was on there.
Bro
he
show.
was cool. It was awesome. This company's great. It's going to rock. It's in Barrie, Ontario. Barrie's cool. Everybody loves Barrie. Never been to Barrie?
Very, very, very good for me.
Berry cherry. Let's see. Jonathan Marlowe has a question. James, Indiva been around since 1979. Is this true? Damn, Jonathan. I saw your question too late. I don't know the answer to that. As soon as I get a second, I'm going to research it. So give us a moment. We'll wait for another moment to look that up.
Right.
Let's see. Who else? Mr. Lou 1990 says Canada is the new Amsterdam. That's an interesting comment.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Amsterdam? How did Amsterdam not be the first country in the world, or the first city in the country in the world, to legalize cannabis? How come that didn't happen? There, the Cannabis Cup comes from Amsterdam.
What would
the coffee shop, cannabis coffee shop, are from Amsterdam. What the fuck happened to them?
So what about who's the new Rotterdam? Why is it?
Who's the new Rotterdam?
Well, there's Rotterdam and Amsterdam, right? You ever think about that?
No, Ed, that's
What's the difference between Rotterdam and Amsterdam?
They both eat grass and drink milk.
They both end in the word damn.
Damn it.
So there's something in the first...
bro.
You know, like for instance, you go to Amsterdam, you're not going to Rotterdam.
Why not?
Because it's just that's just the way it is.
Can't you pass through Amsterdam on your way to Rotterdam and vice versa?
Yeah. Oh, are there any other dams out there?
Damn it.
There's goddamn. Oh.
Damn it, Janet. Ed, you're going straight to hell.
I know.
Hell, boy. Go straight to hell, boy.
Boy, I'll tell you, this is going to become a musical...
Yeah, you know, we're setting up a music studio right on the other side of that wall.
No, this is only the 90th time you've told me, so
well,
why...
I know, I'm telling them the 90th time, some of whom
Why are you
will be
looking at
hearing
me
it for
then?
the first time.
Tell them.
Well, who else am I going to talk to? I can't talk to the camera.
Hey, what's that? What's going on over there? What are you doing over there?
I got a music studio under construction. It turns out that Connor, our sound guy, is actually a bit of a musical impresario, seems to play everything, says he's written some songs. We're going to write a smash hit for Lady Gaga that's going to go viral and bring her into our mix.
Does she know this?
No, that's why we got to make the smash hit song and take it viral.
Is that true, Connor? Wait a minute.
Connor. See? If you had your earpiece in, you would have heard a resounding
Connor,
yes.
Is that true?
Talk about job security when you're actually, sorry, we don't care what you're doing. Just
Let's
make
think
sure you
of a
write a
name.
smash hit. It's got to go viral, and Lady Gaga has to hear it and decide to come and seek us out.
Let's think of a band, name for the band.
How about Gaga Guys? Gaga for Goo Goo. No.
Make me go gaga.
Cool Dad and the Family Secrets is...
No, Uncle Dad.
Uncle Dad. How about...
Uncle's, whoa.
How about Daddy Brother?
Whoa.
How about Daddy Brother Cousin?
How about Family Fun?
Where are you from, son?
Yeah.
Back
How about
there?
Country Boys Hanging Around?
Country road, take me home. No, okay, I'll stop singing. I'll stop singing. And charts, please. Some goddamn charts.
You know what's up a buck today, I think? Is,
what's up a buck?
Is CanTrust. I think it's now 10. You know, it was down to 6.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it.
I know.
Can you imagine, let's say, when the panic was sheer panic and everybody said, we're out?
Yes.
And you got out and said, I'm done.
No.
And, everybody was so pessimistic and there were so many bears. And that's, hey, that sounds of cannons, what do you do?
Run for the hills.
You're really paying attention to our show.
Duck.
So you don't listen to our show.
Duck. If you're standing in front of the cover, cannon, duck. No, I don't listen to our show. What are you talking about? How can I listen and blab at the same time? Yeah. Is there a way to do that? Oh, what's this earpiece for?
Listen and blab.
It's back for where I store my chewing gum, just in case of a storm. Liberty Health Science is rebounding there. 99 cents, up 5 cents on the day.
But not like Afria.
Audience members, I really think that you should take another look at LHS. Yes, it has a boat shit ton of shares out there, but you look at that video that we made about George Scorsis and his operation down there, and it is fabulous. Where are you going? What? You don't want to watch the show? What's the matter with you? Damn, our studio audience.
Let's put up the chart of the Afria charts up.
All right, let's take a look at that, shall we?
I gotta say,
what's going on? Where's the chart? There we go.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so I believe this is $4.60 right here. $4.60.
Yeah.
And I believe this is now $11.40. Let's see. 460 times roughly 2.9, I think, is about $11.40.
Wow.
Let's just take a look.
Wow. So the Green Growth Brands deal is off. Is that
okay? Well, let's take a look at Green.
So they announced that they've executed a definitive agreement to acquire ZLJT LLC and Arizona Natural Pain Solutions for $12,350,000 or $16.3 million in cash in Canadian. Now, are we to infer, because there is no guidance out there, that Green Growth is therefore abandoning its takeover bid of Afria? Have we seen any issuance from either company as to what the status of that is? Am I just so far behind the 8 ball thanks to chronic marijuana consumption that I can't remember what somebody told me a mere hour ago?
Yep.
That's entirely possible.
I'm impressed with this move today, and I think it's got to get digested over a while, but this trend is very powerful. I hate to tell you people, but the trend is your friend.
The trend is your friend.
I thought it was not going to fill that thing.
What happens when the trend turns the other direction?
Well, we'll worry about that when that happens. For the time being...
Boy, I really like to plan ahead. So you mean stocks could go up forever?
Is that like planting ahead?
Whoa!
So farmers plant ahead.
But where do you think the futures market came from?
I thought it was plant. It's not. It's plant ahead.
Plant ahead.
Plant ahead of lettuce.
Plant ahead of lettuce? Plant another seed?
Or a head of cabbage. No, it's not a cabbage. Is it a head of cabbage?
I think it's pretty much. You tell me.
Imagine we walked around like with cabbage heads.
Well, yeah, that's like, I think when you smoke enough cabbage, that's what you got is a cabbage head. Cabbage being yet another, what do you call that?
Cabbage.
Colloquialism for cannabis.
Mon petit chou for the...
Mon petit chou. Ah, François!
Oh,
Tabernacle, mon Dieu!
Mon petit chou.
Mon petit chou.
Let me blow some mon petit chou.
You and me later on behind the bushes.
Mon petit chou.
Mon petit chou. Hey, now, the cannabis conference that took place, actually, sorry, not the cannabis conference. Boy, I've got cannabis on the brain for some reason. The Cantech conference took place in Toronto this week. The Cantech conference put on by Nick Waddell, the Cantech investor, as in partnership with Cambridge House Conferences, Canada's foremost trade conference for investors, promulgators. Boy, did that make any sense? Anyways, the conference wrapped up yesterday, and Sean Cookson was there to take in some of the more interesting companies in attendance. Here's a little look at that.
I'm inside the Metro Toronto Convention Center to check out the Cantech Investment Conference. So why don't you join me on a tour of the future? The Cantech Investment Conference is a hallmark event that attracts the interests of investors, funds, and media from both sides of the border to meet with Canadian innovation entrepreneurs. Move your ass.
Most recently, we've developed a medical cannabis vaporizing system with fingerprint security to identify the patient, some touchscreen features for various therapeutic benefits, and temperature control, so this vaporizer can vape oil or flour.
So the company is based on the core of amalgamating data analytics to feed that back into consumer insights, behavioral trends, trend analysis.
What? Where am I?
Replicants are like any other machine. They're either a benefit or a hazard. But if they're a benefit, it's not my problem.
Right. I interviewed Thunderbird Entertainment.
Thunderbird shifted their business really into a provider of high quality shows, and at the same time started to incubate their own intellectual property.
I really love this movie.
PON Technologies takes untreated stack gas emissions from large final emitters, and we grow algae on it, and that algae is edible. Basically what we've done is we've cracked the nut of solving this sustainability loop. We can take carbon, that's an emission from industry, and we turn it into something that's very needed in our society, sustainable protein.
We are a vertical producer, extractor, processor, and distributor of cannabis in Las Vegas.
Let's take a look at some of the products that I can't buy here.
We do infused moon rocks, so it's a joint rolled in distillate, rolled in keef.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, it's just your normal pre-roll, and it's rolled in distillate, and then rolled in keef. So a supercharged joint. It's like smoking concentrate in a pre-roll.
That's the craziest thing I've heard. Maybe not everything has to stay in Vegas. Well, as you can see, there's a lot of incredibly innovative companies coming up with some incredible ideas, which gives me a glimmer of hope for our futures. For Midas Letter Live, I'm Sean Cookson.
If you're enjoying the show, subscribe to Midas Letter on YouTube so you stay up to date on everything investment. Greg Sullivan joins me now. He's the CEO of BID Technologies, formerly known as Bullet ID Corporation, has very intriguing new technology to protect law enforcement and soldiers in the field. Greg, welcome back.
Thanks. Nice to be back, James.
Greg, this technology excites me to no end, to the fact that I'm forced to disclose that I've become a shareholder, and I'm adding to that position continuously by way of full disclosure. Give me a rundown as to why I'm so excited.
Yeah, this really is unique, groundbreaking technology. And one of the things we saw when it first came in, it was a system to mark ammunition that allows for a government or end user to have a total inventory management control system of their ammunition. The reason for the name change, which was approved at our AGM on January 9th, is that we see we can now expand to other government assets. So not only can we track ammunition, we can track other assets that are in the government, military, and law enforcement stores. So it's really a lot more expansive than we originally thought. But in essence, just talking about the ammunition, it takes a bullet and turns it into a FedEx package. So from the time that it is introduced to that agency, right through to use, transfer, destruction, we can track it. And the government itself, in real time, can tell where all their ammunition or supply is at any one time, any day in real time.
So essentially, complete chain of custody, audit trail that is from manufacturer to point of discharge.
Absolutely. There's continuity along every step of the way, right through the issuance of individual personnel. And certain countries that want the accountability of where that ammunition ends up, if it were to end up in a nefarious event or a human rights violation, they can hold the person accountable who ought to have had that ammunition.
So I find it intriguing, or I found it intriguing now that I'm well versed on the story. I found it intriguing that there's no system for tracking ammunition by government, military, and police agencies in existence.
Right, not to this extent. I mean, it's usually a paper trail, but once it goes out, it's hard to determine where it's gone. With this system, it really will tell you, from a financial accountability point of view, not only for the accountability of the asset, where it's being used heavily every time it moves. If there were to be a large transfer of ammunition from one point to another, that was traditionally done by a paper means. This now takes the guesswork out of it and gives you a definitive idea of where all your assets are at any one time.
Sure. So can you give me an example of a national military agency who might have found that their ammunition was leaking into enemy hands?
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with several governments right now, all foreign governments, that have some issues with accountability of their ammunition. So that's really our key market at this point. We haven't really marketed yet with our technology. The prototype is 2 weeks away from rolling out. At that time, we'll integrate the hardware and the software together. But right now in our pipeline, we have 29 systems that we have the potential to close on. So this is a requirement that has stood for a while, and we are now able to fill that. So we are working with some large governments, which will be the first customers.
Okay, and how does the revenue model work for the company?
What we're looking at, I mean, the good part about the revenue model is really it'll be on a lease agreement. And into that, we'll roll into the price of the machine, the royalty, and also licensing fees. And any negotiation we're having right now, we're looking at 5 to 10 year licensing fees, lease fees. So we're seeing, it's not a one-off sale. There's continual revenue on an annual basis. And generally, each machine has a capability to produce between $500,000 up to $2 million a year from each machine on an annual basis.
Mm-hmm. So you sell all 29 machines in a year, you're beyond cash flow positive, you're profitable.
We're doing very well. I mean, we're pretty confident. We believe we can get about 8 machines in this year up and running to full capacity, and that would be a great start. Mm-hmm. As the production goes and we get to scale, as I say, we'll also move outside of the ammunition assets, because this truly is an inventory management system for governments, and it crosses, the boundary out of ammunition into many other assets that currently are high-value assets. That is, some governments have issue in losing them or going to places they shouldn't be.
They have a habit of disappearing,
Exactly.
right? Interesting. Then, what is there out there right now that the government uses to track its assets, such as ammunition and armor, currently?
Yeah, I mean, it's a paper trail. If I issue you something, we know that it's been issued to you, but you can't mark bullets. So bullets cannot be individually marked. They can now. So that's what we give. I can say we've issued you 1,000 rounds. There's no distinguishing between the rounds issued to you or anyone else in that agency. So if they went to the wrong hands, or if they were found at a human rights violation, we would never know who to hold accountable. With this technology, you'll know exactly where they came from, who the last person they were issued to.
Mm-hmm. What about performance of the round once it's been etched with this system? Does it have any performance degradation or anything that affects the performance of the shell itself?
No, not at all, and that's obviously a big issue. So we've had ballistic testing done on it. It's minimally intrusive to the cartridge. It's actually the cartridge that gets marked, and we've had testing to show it doesn't disrupt the firing sequence, loading sequence, or ejection sequence whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So it truly is, and the machine itself is intrinsically safe in an ammunition manufacturing environment where there can be a lot of residual gunpowder left over. So we've made sure that we've created a safe technology, and that it can do what, even with a minimal intrusion on the round, it can be traced up to about 60 to 75% deletion of our marking on it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Does the etching itself, is it highly specialized software that you need to have this cloud-based inventory control system? Is it built? Is it something that you've got to come up with yet? What's the status of it?
No, we built the software. Obviously, when the integration of the hardware and the software come together in a couple weeks, then there's a little bit tweaking to do on the software. But no, the software really is the key to this. We've created an inventory management system for the government. The software is the key. The marking is relatively, I don't say rudimentary, because it does involve some technology, but for the most part, it's the tracking software that we've created that is the bonus to our technology.
Sure. Okay. So how are you going to fund your way into profitability as a private company?
Right. So we are doing a $2 million private placement right now, and the use of proceeds of that, most of that will go to buying the machines, buying the computer systems we need to put this into place. So we hope to have systems in place in our first customer in March of this year. So we're looking at Q2, maybe early Q3 revenue, but as soon as we start getting systems in place, there will be revenue generated from those.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating.
We're very close.
Yeah, okay, so then how many machines do you have to actually put into the field before you're profitable?
Well, it really depends on the volume of the customer.
Okay.
I mean, we could put one machine in on high volume and we would be profitable by the end of the year. Now, what we want to do is, obviously this depends on volume. The more machines we get out there, and it's incumbent upon us to keep those machines going because that creates the revenue. So at 5 machines, we would definitely be profitable and into positive territory.
Sure. How long did it take you to generate 29 prospects in your current sales pipeline?
Well, the funny part is, James, we haven't really marketed this because we didn't want to do anything until we had a working prototype. These were agents or governments that have come to us that found us through different means that had a requirement for this technology already or are moving towards that requirement. So we really haven't, don't have a sales force. We haven't really gone out there and started to market this. So this is customers who have come to us. So with that and being able to have the ability to put it in a customer and then lead other customers to that to show how it works, the proof of concept, then it puts us in a real strong position with the sales channel we have now to close on that and expand that.
Okay, great. And where can accredited or otherwise institutional investors contact you if they want to learn more about your financing activities and development activities?
Yeah, I mean, right now we drive to the Bullet ID website, and that's the best place to get our contact information and take a look at the technology itself.
Okay, so bullet-id.com?
Correct.
Okay, great. Greg, we're going to leave it there for now. I'm looking forward to this story as it unfolds, and we'll come back to you in due course. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, James.
Enjoying the show, everybody? Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. You think or you think this system of tracking munitions for armies and police forces is going to be a hit? Do you think that's there's 29 companies in the pipeline. That's what I'm saying. That's why I bought the stock. That's why I'm buying it.
What's the ticker?
It's not publicly traded yet. They're doing a private round now, and then they're probably going to do an RTO round.
What do you think I'm doing right now?
I think you're cleaning your eyebrows like a cat.
I'm preening them.
Preening? You're preening them. Boy, that's interesting.
I got to tell you, listen, I don't know much about private. I'm a chart guy, so show me a chart. There's no chart.
What chart?
There is no chart. It's private.
I know. That's why.
When do you expect us to go public? Answer that question.
I expect it will be publicly traded by Q3 of this year.
So sometime in after June. Be more specific.
Q3 ends in September and begins in July.
Be more specific, please. What is with this Q1, 2, 3? What is this shit?
I don't know.
What are they talking about?
It's just a way to make it as vague as possible. It's like, would you like to go out on a date with me? How about in Q3?
Intentional obfuscation.
Intentional obfuscation with an intention to not commit.
IO all the way.
It's a non-commission strategy.
I just wish people would be a little more clear.
Okay, I think so too. It's near the end of the day here, Ed, and I want to point out some of the performers because I want to pull up a chart of Kronos Group, will you please?
Whoa! You know what? Unfortunately, it's gone so high that
it's off the chart.
It's off the chart.
What? How does that happen? Don't they just make us, compact the chart a little bit?
Jesus.
So Khiron Life at the end of the day closed up 53 cents at 288, capping a run at it's basically doubled in the last 3 sessions.
Well, I got to tell you, there's a few happy campers down there in Bogota.
Okay,
let's take a look at CRON, and we're going to put a little CA on that.
Well, Ed's doing that. I want to point out the fact that Fraser Toms, our intrepid executive producer of all fabulous video, is going to be off to Bogota and Doima to shoot some more footage of Khiron because their facility, if you look at the video we already shot of them, the facility has grown by a factor of 10.
Let's put up a 3-month chart here of this little.
And now back to you, Ed.
Well,
okay.
There's that.
What are we looking at, Ed? What
Kronos.
Do we got? Whoa! What chart is that?
That's a 1-month chart of Kronos.
Wow.
Now, the only thing
we didn't buy that.
The only thing I don't really like about this baby. Is in these last 3.
Suzanne bought Kronos. Can you believe that?
Well, she's such.
She bought how many?
$14.
She bought it at $14 and has held it ever since.
No, you know, she's been saying to me, you know, I'm thinking about retiring.
Suzanne Garcia, our scheduling maven, our
look at
organizational guru.
What's going on here? What's going on here?
Suzanne, you're going to have to be in the newsletter making picks, telling us what you're going to be buying next.
You know, we can't keep the help around here. You know why? Because they make so much money.
I know.
They retire.
Exactly.
Jesus, they want to work over here for nothing?
I know.
Okay, look at this. This trend. This is this is unbelievable. The only thing I don't like.
What's that?
The only thing I don't like.
What do you like? Besides cold women and warm beer?
Jesus. I'm going to stop.
Oh, you like warm beer?
Okay, I don't like the way there's these big wicks.
Big what?
Show you, Wabbit.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Big wicks.
Boy, and a couple of little.
Look at that. They sell off
there.
this thing. They sell off from the highs, but volume is big. There's no question. But this thing, you know, is moving like a
freight train,
powerful engine. Some kind of powerful machine.
So let's talk about the fundamental reasons. Why is Cronos Group, in the absence of any major news, on a tear? Well, as we pointed out not so long ago, that Altria had invested 2.6 billion Canadian dollars in them. And
what was the price they did that at? You recall offhand?
No. Jesus, don't ask me questions to which I don't already know the answer.
I don't know.
What the hell is this? A court of law? Anyways, as we were saying, if we were going to compare Cronos Group to another LP that had received a multi-billion-dollar investment from a multinational conglomerate, i.e. Constellation's $5 billion investment into Canopy Growth, which caused their market cap to rise to 19, $20 billion. And at the time of the start of this run, Cronos Group was still at a market cap of $3.2 billion. Now at $25, what's the market cap, Edward?
What?
Oh boy.
Say it again.
Anyways, what's the price? 25 million. How many shares out on this one?
On this one?
On this one. How many shares out on this one, Edward?
Which one?
On Cronos Group. What do you think we're talking about here?
Okay, just a minute. I'm going to tell you right now.
Oh, I hope so. Hopefully before the end of the show.
Market cap is I'm going to say 4.4 billion. Does that sound right?
So there you have it. 4.3 billion. So relative to Canopy, valued at, let's call it an even 20 billion.
Is Canopy up to 20 billion?
Yeah. So let's say that a multi-conglomerate investor comes with an accelerator and the price of 4x. So Canopy's worth 20 billion with a $5 billion investment. That means
this should be
at least $10 billion with a 2.6.
But I think there's a lot of more fundamental stuff going on.
Today,
would you not agree that there's more fundamental stuff going on in weed right now in terms of?
Yeah. So today it's worth 4.6 billion. Well, okay, the whole sector is in a enthusiastic accumulation phase.
Whew.
So
crazy phase.
Yeah. So I think if you look at all the markets around the world right now, commodities are still sucking hand teeth.
Oh,
whoa!
The page has been green lately.
What?
Ever since the Fed said that it's unlikely we're going to do anything with rates, commodities have been starting to rise.
So what's copper at?
279.
That's hardly a rise.
Come on.
Jeez, gold.
Come on.
Still above 13. Well, okay, so let's say the commodities are starting to look a little lively.
They're starting to, look at gold. You know that you made that.
And we're not talking pig bellies here, people. When we say commodities, we mean hard metal.
Metals. Precious metals.
Precious metals and industrial metals.
Industrial metals.
And recreational metals. Medical metals.
Is recreational
Do you know copper and silver are medical metals?
I certainly do. Yeah, there's very
titanium's a medical metal as well.
Therapeutic, yeah.
Therapeutic.
Yeah.
Anyways,
gold is stable. Gold is one of those stable elements.
Stable?
Yeah.
Like that you put horses in?
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's juvenile. Anyways, there was a comment I saw by one of our users when we were having the conversation about magic mushrooms in the chat room. We were having a little kibitz, and some people were commenting on their enthusiasm for magic mushrooms as a recreational. I would say magic mushrooms are an educational substance that titillate while they educate. Woohoo! But they certainly are educational, because why? You get to meet the founders of the universe and converse with them about the future of humanity and all the dimensions. No, other than that, they make you wear weird shirts like this, and they're just generally good for mental health. So this comment that I'm trying to find, and they were going to put it up on the screen, but I think we got sidetracked, and now I can't remember what the comment was, but I'm going to look for it. Okay, Garen Crumpf 666, a regular. Garen Crumpf 666.
666.
Thank you for your participation. I see your name here all the time, but good comment. Google ATAI Life Sciences, ATAI Life Sciences. They run medical trials with magic mushrooms with compass pathways. Now, Garen Crumpf 666, you have hereby been recruited to tell us, what the hell are you talking about, boy? Compass pathways, what are they? We're going to go do our own research, but this is going to be a topic of conversation, because if I thought there was any chance that the Health Canada was going to start issuing cultivation license for magic mushrooms, I also grew magic mushrooms on quite a scale in a basement far, far away, in a place where it was legal, not anywhere in terrestrial Canada, just saying. But let me tell you, they're educational, and they promote good mental health.
You know, this is maybe a coincidence, but I'm starting to think that the farming
is
spelled P-H-A-R-M-I-G.
Oh! Milewski knocks one out of the park with a quick
So
witted.
you're a bit of a farmer.
Yeah! Well, my last name's West, and where are most of the farms in Canada? Out west! No?
The Western farmer.
Oh my God.
The Western farmer.
We had it going.
The Western farmer.
The farmer Western.
I just wish there were some people here to laugh. What are they doing in the control room? I don't hear
they're messing with our minds. Look what's coming up tomorrow, Edward. It's Allison Gordon from 48 North CEO is going to be here. She is always a riot. Chris
High
energy and insane. Chris Churchill, CEO of Canada House Wellness, is going to be here. Jeff Mazer, who is the founder of Tinley Beverage Company. Now, this is a company that's been flying under the radar of the mainstream cannabis players forever. And they are making beverages and extracted products in Colorado and California. And I'm pretty sure, I didn't see it up there, but I'm pretty sure also, is tomorrow Thursday or Friday? Friday. So tomorrow is Dmitry, the Russian bear Zaitsev, is going to be here to hurl abuse at some well-deserving No, he's not. What? Okay, so fine. Ed, you're going to have to stand in for the bear, and you're going to have to make a bear case for one of these companies.
I'll make a bear case.
Yeah, let's find a victim who we can utterly rat bag.
Should I not wear clothing and then
just tell me who it's going to be in the morning, so I can go short the company in the morning. Then you rat bag it, and we sell into. Oh wait, that wouldn't be right.
That would be
downright dastardly. That is the business model of a lot of short.
That's the opposite of promoting your book or running your book. What's the expression?
I don't know. Now where are you going with that? You're running the book into the ground? What are you reading the book? Reading the book backwards.
Reading the book. Why do they call it a book? There's nothing to read in there.
Well, you got your book and you got your bookie. And when you want to place a bet, who do you call?
Your bookie.
Ghostbusters.
Who are you going to call?
The bookie.
You know, Tilray.
Tilray is back above $80. I know. Tilray. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Why is it back above $80?
Well, you know what? This sector continues to get unbelievable action.
I know.
If you can convince, you know what? I got to tell you, if I had a smaller company that wasn't getting a lot of love and it was a good company, and we know there's a few of them around here, Khiron's one, but all of a sudden, Khiron's been lit up.
Yes,
Khiron
on fire.
You know, but maybe a good idea is to maybe find the one like we often hear about Johnson. What is it? Johnson Wagner? No, what's the name of that?
Johnson? Who's Johnson? Johnson.
That
Johnson and Johnson.
Somebody like.
No, it's Milewski and West, not Johnson and Johnson. That would be
somebody like.
Virgin Atlantic.
Like, for instance, Kronos. They're going to be snapping up some of these companies.
Kronos is.
Sure they are.
I know, because they don't want to sell cigarettes to children anymore.
They got a lot of money.
What? Altria. Think Altria is trying to greenwash the product line by making acquisitions in cannabis, or do you think Like if heroin was legal, they'd buy that too.
You know what? Cigarettes maybe.
Sorry, Mike, I'm not taking the piss. Your company's on fire. It's unbelievable. Nothing I can say could possibly harm the momentum and direction that you guys have taken.
Which company?
Kronos.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
Kronos is on fire. I actually have a little jar of Kronos's Cove product in my office there. That after this broadcast, we're going to be talking a little slower. Our humor will become a little bit more childish. Our eyes will become a little bit squinted and droopy, and we'll probably want to just lock ourselves in the studio over here with the drum kit.
I'm going to put up a quick chart of the S&P here. Yeah,
you know, Ed,
big day.
You can't.
Okay, we're done?
We're done for the day. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the newsletter on our website, because we're going to start publishing our top picks based on what we're doing, not what we're telling you to do, because we don't tell people what to do. And I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye!